Hi guys, welcome to the Hayworth Music Podcast. We've got a special guest here with us again today, back for the second time, Mr. Miles Jackson from Cold Clark.
How's it going, guys?
How you going? And we've got the big GH here.
What's up, everyone?
As always, Glenn Hayworth.
Yeah,
His name's on the building.
Pleasure to be.
That's it.
Name's on the building. That's it.
That is. I've
Get
seen
it right. It's
big
Hayworth.
writing.
Hayworth without the Y. Let's get it right, people.
Hallworth, Hawthorne.
Hamworth. We hear it all.
Whatever.
Hogwarts.
As long as you're buying a guitar, you can call it whatever you want.
That's it.
So, we've got this brand new Cold Clark model here in front of us, Miles. Why don't you give me the rundown? Give me the rundown of this Fat Lady 2.
It's a beautiful looking guitar, by the way.
Which I'll get a photo of it and make sure we put that up with the postcards. But
look,
tell me.
Look, if you said to somebody, "Look, I've got a guitar and it's going to have a white fretboard acoustic guitar," you'd say, "Yeah, no, look, I don't think I'll worry about looking at that."
Yeah.
You look at this guitar and it's just hot. You go, "Wow, that looks cool."
Yeah, it does. It definitely, it's eye-catching straight out of the case.
Yeah.
It's like whiter than maple.
Yeah, that's it. So, however, it's nothing that we do at Cold Clark is ever about the look. It's about the sound. This is a fabulous sounding fretboard. So it sits kind of in between Rosewood and Ebony with a little bit more top end than Rosewood, but more bottom end than Ebony.
Right.
We did 4 guitars in a test sample, one with each with Ebony, Rosewood, Blackbean, and Satin Box, and everybody in the room, and we had some fine players there, liked Satin Box the best.
Yeah. So this is Satin Box.
That's Satin Box.
Satin Box fingerboard.
Sandbox fingerboard, and you were saying that.
And I've got to say, quite funny, Lloyd Spiegel said, "Well, it's the best sounding fretboard, but I'm not going to be using it. It's white." I've dobbed him in.
It's like, he's up, Lloyd. He's up.
Come on, Lloyd.
You should just
He's a traditional guy.
Yeah, no,
he's a traditional guy.
Just start chucking it on all his signature series.
That's right. Yeah.
Just don't ask.
That's right.
Yeah.
But who am I to say to the great man? So
You can use it for recording.
Exactly.
In the studio.
Exactly. No one will know.
That's
No
right.
one will know.
So it's a fabulous sounding fretboard. You treat it like rosewood. You lemon oil it. We had it in a 3-week period at a trade fair in Europe and a dealer trip before and afterwards. So it was played every day extensively for 3 weeks.
Yep.
It didn't darken off.
No.
So it's a really and it feels great. You just play it and it feels great. Sounds great.
I had a little play of it just before we started the podcast. And Satin Box, Miles, is normally a timber that you've used on back and sides before. So
That's
and it's
right.
an Australian tree. But you were
Yes.
saying it's like an Australian bush. It's like it's harder to cut down because you've got all these smaller branches and things like that.
Yeah, it's a large bush. So it's not like your great big log that you run your saw up and down.
You got to use a hedge trimmer or something.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's just a lot of chainsawing to get a chunk out that you can then cut up with fingerboards and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Comes from the same sort of area that Blackwood comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the runoffs, so we get ours from the Otway Ranges, farms around the Otway Ranges and stuff, which is in Melbourne.
Yep.
Sorry, not
Yep.
in Melbourne, down the coast from Melbourne,
Okay.
on the Ocean Road.
Yep.
So it's expensive. It's more expensive than ebony.
Yep.
Because of that time taken to.
Well, I know
Yeah.
that like guitars with the Satin Box back and sides have always like sort of gone at a premium for that high
Yes.
quality timber. Yeah, you kind of got that figure to it as well that's different to most other timbers.
Yeah.
The actual grain looks a lot different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of a. Yeah, it's a grain which is probably a couple of mils apart,
Yeah.
kind of thing
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general, and it can wave a bit and can be straight, can be, all of that.
And is that why it took you guys so long? Sorry to be, if that sounds rude, but why did it take you guys so long? So I'm being bold here. He's sitting across from me.
Yeah.
Sitting across from me, you can take me out. This guy,
Yes.
he's a big guy. Why did it take you guys so long to do a fretboard when you were doing back and sides for years? Was that 'cause of the price, or was it?
Okay, so a lot of
a
what.
eureka moment somewhere.
Well, no, okay, so it's an interesting question because a lot of what we do is we kind of know, we look at the density, air dry density and Jenker hardness of a timber, and we kind of know that where rosewood and ebony sits, so we'll then try other things around that.
Right.
Now, all the published data on timber is on commercially viable timbers that they can get large amounts from.
Yep.
Satin Box is not that.
No,
it's
it's not people
sustainable.
out there cutting bushes down to build houses.
Yeah. So if you jump online, you'll find no data
Right.
on Satin Box. So it's not something that came up on our radar as something to try.
Yeah.
We were using it, and our supplier we were using it for back and sides because there's a history of it, and we knew it sounded pretty good. And then our supplier said, it's in the that area of rosewood ebony that it should be pretty damn good for a fretboard. And we went,
right.
Okay,
Let's give that a crack.
it is white, but
Yeah.
hey, we're up for anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, that's what's great about you guys. You guys are doing so many new things with different timbers, different combinations. And what I love about you guys is the Eco series that you brought out, all Australian sustainable timbers. Let's talk a little bit about that. How did that come about? The sustainable timbers like your black beans and using black beans, and obviously now your satin box and then your black woods as well.
Yeah, so there's a few things when you talk about sustainability. One of them is that people think it's all about CITES registration. That if it's not listed on CITES, then it's all okay. But there's lots of timbers. So CITES is the international organisation for protection of plants and animals.
Right.
So they protect rhinoceros, elephants,
Yep.
rosewood.
Yeah, okay.
So rosewood's
Yep.
just been listed with CITES.
So that's where all the restrictions came from with Rosewood.
With
It was from
Rosewood.
them, it ended up on their list.
That's it.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
okay.
been listed. That means that you can't ship it across a border
Yep.
without pre-CITES or without CITES certificates.
Or the black market.
Yeah, good luck on that. So it's and look, there's only 20% of the world's rosewood left. This is not a conspiracy theory by some pollies to the fun police out there or
Yeah.
anything. This is there's bugger all left.
They're running out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's the right thing.
Well,
to
it's the
do.
same sort of thing with
Yeah.
Brazilian rosewood. Years
Yep.
and years ago, it was readily available, and then they shut up shop, and
Yeah, absolutely.
now it's like hen's teeth.
That's right, and
Yeah.
the forests are now there's some protection to it. Yeah,
That's
there's
right.
some
Yeah.
Nasty,
Yeah.
there's probably some nasty black market stuff.
Oh, I'm sure there
happening,
is.
but
Yeah,
not in guitars so
yeah.
much. But
I
in,
doubt it. It's pretty big. It's pretty big rainforest, though.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Just real quick too, have you come across anyone with Brazilian rosewood who still has Brazilian rosewood in Australia, making
Yep.
guitars, things like that? There's a few guys around.
So there's quite a lot of Brazilian rosewood that were in caches of timber that various people have. There was one Australian small maker who had some.
Yeah.
Tom Bedell in the US bought some from a Spanish maker who
Yeah.
had a whole lot from the 50s.
Yeah. Okay.
So and in fact I swapped some wood with him and we made a Brazilian rosewood guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Which was very expensive.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you if you guys have made. I don't think I've seen a Cole Clark with Brazilian rosewood.
No. It's really interesting sounding because we were able to make two identical guitars,
Yeah.
one with Indian rosewood, one with Brazilian rosewood.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And it was really great to hear the difference. And the Indian rosewood actually went lower, like it had more
Yeah. Okay.
like boom to it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And Brazilian rosewood was kind of more. It went lower than most timbers go, but it was like bell-like kind
Right,
of thing.
yeah, okay.
So it was a really interesting exercise. Not better or worse than each other either.
But just
Yeah.
different.
Just different.
Yeah.
We had the big Phil Hayworth on the podcast a few episodes back,
Yeah.
and he's actually got a little stash stored away of Brazilian rosewood from back when he was doing a lot of making. So
My new best friend.
that's
Yeah.
going.
He, wants,
that's
he
it.
wants to build me the Brazilian rosewood guitar. He told me.
Well, that's right. There's guys like that.
Just make sure it can be tuned down and drop C sharp.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
it's
Yeah.
all good.
There's guys like that who've got little bits and pieces
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
all that. So the other part of the sustainable question
Yeah.
is then not what's not listed on CITES, but what is endangered. So
Right.
there's a thing you can Google, which is the Red List, which is the international registrar of plants and animals which shows what's endangered and what's not endangered. And you can look up any plant or animal species in the world, and it'll either have it listed or not have it it might say, there's so many of them that we don't have to list that. That's There's no data on this because I don't have to check on that.
Yep.
But there's many that are. So if you dial ebony, for example, most ebonies are endangered or threatened. Mm-hmm. So just because it's not listed by CITES yet, doesn't mean that it's not, actually an endangered species, and it is. So it was certainly listed on the international site for this. And so we sort of thought, well, we should make guitars available for people who want timbers that are sustainable, that do. That the amount that you're taking out is being replanted, and there's such a big forestry that it's a sustainable resource.
Yeah.
So we went down that track and made a series available on that, which was basically most of our guitars at the time. This was back 2.5 years ago. Most of our guitars at the time were made of fully sustainable timbers, except things with rosewood back and sides and that. Except for the rosewood fingerboard or ebony fingerboard, everything was sustainable timbers. So we thought, well, all we got to do is to, nail that fretboard thing.
Yeah.
So we trialled and then went with Blackbean, which has been fantastic. It's a really nice neutral sort of timber, which sounds great. And that's been a mainstay for us. By the time the Rosewood was CITES listed, Blackbean was 32% of our sales, and it then...
Well, the Eco Series just took off.
Yeah,
really,
that's right.
When it got released.
And then from there, it's become... The standard guitar is that now, and we're now 90% of what we...
Well, because all the everything from one series automatically comes as that, and then the your Rosewood fingerboards in Fat Lady 2s and is...
Well, that's an option, which is there. You can pay $200 and get a Rosewood fretboard.
That's right,
and we've got a bit of pre-CITES Rosewood left in fingerboards and backs and sides. So we're still doing some Rosewood for people who want it.
Yeah.
Indian Rosewood, that is. But it's a limited thing.
Yeah.
It'll only last so long.
Yeah. And then the idea is once you run out, it'll just be Blackbean and satin box.
Well, yeah, that's right. And we're also trying other things as well because that's what we do at Cold Clark.
Yeah, that's what you guys do.
If I told you, I had to kill you.
Innovators.
That's what we're talking about. Right. You guys are so innovative. You guys are always trying new stuff.
Have a strum of this.
I would love to have a strum of that.
And while Glenn's doing that, the other thing about this is it's got wooden fretboard inlays. So it's actually got no shell in it. So it's got no...
You didn't have to send any divers out.
Yeah.
So is it Blackwood or mahogany? What's the inlays?
They're cooked down ironwood.
Oh,
so
really?
It's a super...
way off.
Yeah.
Nice. It is a massive sound, isn't it?
It is.
That is a nice sound. It's just big, hey?
Yeah.
Big sound.
So that comes with the Satin Box series comes with that rosette. It comes with the Cooktown Ironwood inlays and the Satin Box fretboard. And it's available in Bunya Blackwood, Redwood Blackwood, and Blackwood in both Fat Lady and Angel. We don't have...
This one's got a mahogany neck.
Yes.
With a Blackwood headstock. And it's got Blackwood back and sides, this one. So 3-piece Blackwood back. And you've got the Bunya top on this one. And the rosette is actually Satin Box and is it Blackwood?
It's Cooktown Ironwood again.
Oh, Cooktown Ironwood. Keep tricking me, the old Cooktown Ironwood.
That's it.
Yeah, nice. So just really cool looking guitar because the Satin Box is just that light, sort of really white colour, and it's just something you don't always see on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Something really different.
It's like the old cowboy guitars Gibson made, where they used to do some stuff with white, with maple fretboard. It's got a kind of reminiscent on that, but totally different. You know?
Very nice. We might have to add that one to our collection here.
Let's do it, G.
Miles.
All right,
That one's ours.
Pull the trigger.
done.
So, yeah, because Miles just brought this one for you guys out there. Miles just brought this one to show us today.
We bagged
He
it.
often does that.
Yeah,
He often
bags
does
it.
that. Brings it to his favourite customers.
That's it. Now, we did a review, I think it was last week, on the Little Lady 2 Blackwood. I've said outrageous things about the Little Lady on
Yep.
previous podcasts.
That's right. Yeah, you've compared it to
in a good way.
Yeah.
Where I've basically just
He gets-
badmouthed every other guitar.
We've got to keep tubes on a bit of a tight leash sometimes.
They're all nice
I've got a lot of
guitars.
people offside.
Speaking of
there were
cowboys,
lawsuits.
speaking of cowboys, he's like
Yeah.
from the Wild West. This guy.
Can't help myself.
No filter.
Can't help myself. But
That's what I'm here
Everyone
for.
makes fine guitars, and so do we.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
it's better than all the other ones.
Yeah.
The Blackwood one though was awesome.
Yeah.
Really good. How did the Little Lady series come about?
We wanted to do a 23.5-inch scale
Yep.
instrument. It's a category which we needed to be in.
Yeah.
Everyone was fighting tooth and nail to get the smallest, version of that they could.
Yeah.
I also wanted to do something which was a different shape,
Yeah.
like unashamedly not a Martin
Yep.
shape.
Yep.
I mean, everything that every manufacturer almost in the world does is a Martin shape.
Yeah.
And Martin, a fine company, and they make great guitars. And but you are allowed to make other shapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
There isn't a law,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we wanted to do that. So we went for a bigger body with the aim of getting more projection.
Yeah.
And then our pickup, because of the phase sensor, picks up the sound of the guitar.
Yeah,
it means
yeah.
that the pickup sound is absolutely sensational.
They're amazing.
Plug that
they're
in.
amazing, but they're really comfortable to play as well.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you're resting your arm on the actual
Yeah.
guitar. So you're not resting.
It doesn't feel like you're playing a
your
small.
wrist on
It
it.
doesn't really feel
Yeah.
like a small guitar when you're playing it
No.
at all.
And the volume
Yeah.
is just kicks.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
if you want to combine, a stage guitar, which is, I think, the best plugged in,
Yeah.
small guitar
Yeah.
out there, and combine that with something that will really give you some projection when you're sitting around with your mates at a party or something,
Yeah.
then it's great.
For sure.
Yeah.
So who came up with the design?
Andy
of the body?
Barraquois.
Okay.
So he's an English guy who's been working with us for like 10 years or so.
Right, okay.
So he did a luthier course in UK, 4-year thing at Leeds University, and
Right.
A 4-year luthier course in the UK.
yeah.
Wow.
They make violins and classical
Yeah,
guitars
okay.
and all sorts of stuff.
Oh.
So he came up with that. And he does all of our CNC programming and stuff,
Right,
and
yep.
a lot of a lot of the R&D.
Yep.
So he did that. Paul Gale helped with some of the final bracing.
Yep.
So between those two, they
Figured
did
it
the
out.
final bracing
Yeah.
thing that we did.
How long was the development process?
About 3 years.
Yeah. Got to be patient with these guitar things, don't
Oh
you?
yeah. And look, there's lots of reasons for that. We
Yeah.
came out of a fire. We,
Yeah, the whole factory catching on fire is a real doozy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that sort of that's a fair thing that jumps in the middle of stuff.
I totally forgot. I completely
Yeah,
forgot
that was
about
when we
that.
kind of first started.
Yeah,
That's when we
probably.
really
With you
sort
guys
of
mostly.
delved in deep. With,
Was it like
with
3
Bob
years,
Clark
4 years
and-
ago, something like that?
August 2013.
Yeah, and then
Um,
it's and then it was on fire.
and we were out of production for 8 months,
Yeah.
and then we started.
Crazy.
Sorry,
Crazy.
5 months, and then
Wow.
we came back into production with like 4 or 5 guitars a day.
Yeah.
Like it didn't suddenly go yes,
Yeah.
and here we go. you
So
know.
how do
Yeah.
you get through? Like
Insurance,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
that's it.
Yeah, right.
So rebuild.
Yeah.
just-
Lucky you
just
took
about
out that
killed us.
policy.
Absolutely.
Wow.
What's it like, Miles, as a manufacturer in Australia with so many companies going overseas, talking about the car industry and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And what's it like as a manufacturer in Australia these days?
It's really hard. It's really, really, really hard. We've got the highest wages in the world.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
all you people out there working don't feel like you
Yeah.
have,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
have the highest
Yeah.
wages,
Do you have to
manufacturing
do you
costs.
have to keep your team a lot smaller than?
Well, you can't. I
compared,
mean, there's
or-
just so much handwork.
Yeah.
And the frustrating thing is that we're employing 35 Australians,
Yeah.
and we get the most frustrating thing is payroll tax, because it's a tax not on making a profit.
Yeah.
It's this thing for employing too many people.
Yeah.
It's the most nuts.
It's
hey, everyone out there, go and see your politician.
Counterproductive, isn't it?
It's just makes no sense on any way, shape, however you look at it.
Yeah.
And that just kills you.
Yeah.
Our rent's higher than anywhere in the world, just about. Our electricity costs, same thing.
Yeah.
So all the costs are just really prohibitive.
Yeah.
But
you're making it work.
Yeah, but as we say to ourselves, Australia's a great place, and this is where we want to live, and this is where we want to make guitars. So, we do everything we can to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Is that something you guys have ever considered? Is doing a cheaper line, coming out of China or Korea or something like that?
No.
Look, it's not just what you guys are about.
No. It's no.
Well,
that's the simple answer.
Good answer. Well, when you can get your Fat Lady ones and Angel ones straight, like we buy them straight from the manufacturer. This is what I always tell people too: is we buy the guitar straight from you guys. We're not buying from a wholesaler who then has to buy it from another manufacturer.
Middleman.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like we get it straight from where it's made.
Yeah.
And it helps keep the cost down for the end user in Australia. So Australians buying Australian guitars, it makes sense. It's really good value for money to the end user.
Yep, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
I saw on your Facebook page, I think yesterday, there was a bass there that looked like it was about to be put together.
Yep. So we're
Clark entering the land of bottom end.
Yes, and it's once again all these things take longer than you would like.
I remember seeing this at the NAMM show. Start of this year, you guys had the basses at NAMM over in Anaheim.
Yeah, so we're doing this with Neil Kennedy, who's a maker,
bass builder.
Yeah, in Melbourne, he's been making basses for 30 years. He's sort of made 3 or 4 basses a year for 30 years, and makes fine basses in that sort of $6,000 to $8,000 boutique sort of area. So we teamed up with him, and he's designed the bass. So it's a Cole Clark Kennedy bass.
Right.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have it out this year about March, but just things take a lot longer for lots of reasons. But we're very close to having the 4-string out in getting ready to produce.
Yep.
So and then the 5 will follow pretty quickly, because a lot of the jigs you have to do you can doubled up on and stuff. We're hopeful that we'll have production made samples for Winter NAMM.
Yep.
And then we'll have stock in shops kind of March, April next year.
Right, okay. So did you just sort of see a gap in the market there for an Australian-made bass, or what made you want to get into?
Well, we wanted to move
basses?
into electrics and basses and other instruments.
Yep.
Bass players are open to new brands.
Yep.
In some ways more than electric guitar players.
Yep.
Electric guitar players kind of want to buy a Fender or a Gibson, or maybe a Strat or a Tele or a Les Paul or a Fender or a Gibson.
Very loyal to their brands.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we've seen some fine guitars, electric guitars out there, which have not sold at all because they're not Fender or Gibson or Fender.
Yeah.
Or certain genres of more modern guitars, like certain Ibanez and Ibanez and Jacksons and all that sort of metal, sort of more contemporary guitar. Yeah. So it was an area that is probably in a way easier to get into, where people go, "Hey, here's a new bass, and I'll play it." Whereas guitar players are like, "It's not a Les Paul.
What's that doing? What's that doing in
Yeah.
We'll do some electrics at some point, and we've got some ideas that we think will cut through all that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So, but
Well, that was like the whole thing with PRS. When PRS came out and made it big in the 90s, I think it was everyone was just blown away, because you had Gibson and Fender, and somehow PRS just came kind of straight through the middle and established himself as a profound guitar builder, making these nice carved tops, getting artists on board and everything, and he really just carved a place for himself.
They caught your eye straight away as well. When I remember first time seeing the Custom 24 in the whale blue, and it was just an ad. It's just a black ad with a Custom 24 in it. It didn't even say anything on it. I think it just said Custom 24, Pauline Smith.
Yeah. And not to
That was
name,
it. Nothing else.
not to name drop too much, but I actually talked to my mate Paul about that.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
No, because
I was over at Paul's house.
He said, yeah, back in the 90s, they went hard with magazine ads and everything, with just for the photos of the guitars.
That's all you
because they
needed.
look so good.
Yeah.
They just went hard.
Well,
And I remember seeing it as well.
Yeah.
He's the guy that has broken through that Fender Gibson Fender thing.
Yeah.
And he did it with great respect to the history, and he did it with learning a lot from the history. He talked a lot to McCarty, so he was, from what I understand, so McCarty's the great guy from Gibson who was at Gibson from the 50s to the late 60s.
Yep.
So in the golden era of Gibson. So fascinating guy.
For sure.
And so Paul Reed Smith did some fantastic. He's still doing unbelievable guitars.
I remember Col Clark used to make this really cool electric. It was called was it a Mistress?
Yep.
The Mistress.
Yes.
It was almost like it had a PRS-y sort of thing with a
sort of
humbucker in it. It was a carved top, and
Yes.
that was cool.
It
Bring
was
that back.
very heavy. It was very heavy.
It was crazy heavy, but it was such a cool guitar though.
I think if we'd kept, there's a lot of history with every company. I think if we'd kept developing that theme, and I think we'd still be making electric guitars today.
Yeah.
But we branched out into doing, like basically Fender copies, and it's like that's not where Col Clark is, it's not where.
It's a tough sell as well.
Well, and Fender's a great company. They're great guys, and they make Fenders. If I'm going to buy a Strat, I'll probably go and buy a Fender Strat.
You want something that's not a Strat, a Tele, or a Les Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you're going to copy that, you just get the real thing.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So
Sure. That was a cool guitar though.
But they were cool.
I did like that guitar.
And the Hollow Baby that we did do with which was a Strat.
Yeah.
But it was completely hollowed out.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the fabulous instruments. Yeah.
Yeah,
Having said that, I'd probably go and buy a Strat. Well, certainly a solid body. These things in a hollow thing are just fabulous things.
Yeah.
And getting back to the basses, I had a play of some of these basses, Chips. You haven't seen any in the flesh yet, have you? Did you bring any around?
I think you
Very
might have
early
brought a
among
prototype into the shop.
Yeah.
That I
Did
don't
you have-
think I
did you have play of
didn't
it?
get to play it. I looked at it with my
I would
eyes.
play with it over in them. Really nice, and I really like the natural look of it too. The natural timber look. That's so aligned with what you guys do. You guys are innovative. You guys are trying new timbers.
Yeah.
You got the satin kind
Would
of finishes.
you do the fingerboards on the bass like as satin box or black
Yeah.
bean or?
So so it'll be a we're actually working on another little thing as well.
Okay.
So it'll be black bean or something very similar.
Okay.
And it's got a neck through Queensland maple neck,
Right.
with bunya like back wings on it, and then either a blackwood cap or a redwood cap or a maple
Redwood cap on it would be
or a satin box cap. Queensland maple silkwood cap.
Right. Okay.
So it's these are really. I was talking with Neil about it the other day, and he's saying he really likes these timbers we're using, and I said, well, it's interesting because a lot of bass companies are looking at timbers and about what they look like and all that, and they end up being quite dense timbers, so they don't have a lot of bottom end and fullness to them.
Yeah.
And they
you kind of end up having to put you have to put active pickups in them or something to actually start getting some bottom end.
That's right.
Out of it, rather than it being natural like a jazz bass. Or
but with what we're doing, like when Neil came along and said, "Okay, let's do this project," he said, "Let's look at using the timbers that you use anyway. For your guitar, your basses, and I can do my boutique basses off over here." Of course, the timbers that we use in making acoustic guitars are really resonant. That's why we use them.
Yeah.
So suddenly he's using these for basses, going, "Wow, these things sound fantastic. Bunya sounds awesome on a bass,
right.
and Queensland maple and maple silkwood and all this. That sounds unbelievable." So he's really impressed with these acoustic timbers.
I think that's smart from your guys' point of view too. Is there's the natural earthy feel to it. Like I think that's popular with basses.
Yes.
Like bass players love Warwick. It's just got that
right,
earthy, natural look to it and the feel to it. You know, the wenge necks and the satin finishes and everything. Like it's something that bass players just like about that. Like good bass players really like that. People who are going to spend money on a bass. Are generally good bass players, and they like that earthy feel to it. Yeah, something about maybe it's something to do with being grounded bass players. I don't know. I'm going fourth dimension here, but
that's right.
There's something there with
chest, this guy.
There's something there.
That's
with
right.
it.
And like I really like that natural thing, and like we use the satin, the nitrocellulose satin finish. Some people use a rubbed, sort of finished, Danish oils and all sorts of different things. But it's a really good way, and I like those natural finishes. Some people like colours and stuff. We will do a few different fade colours with a highly figured Queensland maple silkwood tops and stuff. So there'll be a bit of that as well, because some people like colours and
it's exciting times.
It's cool. It's very cool.
It's always something. It's always something new.
That's
about,
good.
Isn't there?
Yeah, I guess like as a manufacturer, you have to keep evolving, right? Like I'm just. We kind of get a good feel for how you guys operate now. I've been working with you guys a number of years, and you guys are just constantly evolving and coming out with something new. And I think to be as popular as you guys are, and sustain that, and maybe even improve that, you just have to be coming out with new things for people to try and just appealing to new customers all the time.
No, that's right. It's we want to be pressing the envelope. We want to be coming out with improving the thing that we're in, which is making acoustic guitars especially. Cool.
You want to
drop some wisdom
on us, and we'll wrap this up.
Do you remember this part, Miles? What's this part? Remember this?
Music.
He's forgotten. He's forgotten already.
No, I'm thinking. I'm sitting there going.
It's getting to the point. We've done so many of these now. It's getting to the point. I hope I'm not doubling up on this.
That's
but
right. I'll call you out.
You tell me.
I'll call you out.
So this is where we talk about the benefits of music. Yeah. And the one I just looked up before the podcast here is that music teaches you discipline, which I don't think I've said that one before.
No, that one's fresh.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
Not everyone likes the word discipline, but allow me to elaborate, Miles.
Okay, Glenn.
Playing an instrument can be very challenging, as we know.
I've always found it easy.
You found it easy, mate. Yeah, you just play two notes, though. One of the qualities that musicians learn is discipline. Practicing often and working on the hard parts of music and not just the easy and fun stuff requires discipline. The best musicians in the world are masters of discipline, which is why they are so successful on their instrument.
Yeah.
And that's from effectivemusicteaching.com.
Basically, they're shut-ins.
Shut-ins, yeah, lock themselves in a room.
Practice.
Get really, really good.
Practice. Have no social skills whatsoever.
Yeah. I think it's important
to see how many musicians I can alienate.
Yeah, that's right.
But especially like kids, like they have to learn that if you want to play guitar, it's funny because we've got the music school. When you watch these young kids, all of a sudden they want to learn guitar, they're heaps excited about it, and then after their first lesson, they're almost sometimes a bit disheartened because they realise how hard it actually is.
Yeah, I've taken a lesson, I don't know how to play guitar.
Why can't I play it? And
it's ridiculous.
It is teaching that, and that's an important skill to learn. It's patience.
For sure.
It's working through challenges. It's being resilient, and all that, and that's what learning music does, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Agreed.
Dropping some wisdom right there.
That's it.
Agreed. All right, thanks so much for sitting down with us again, Miles.
No worries.
Thanks, Miles.
Appreciate it.
Good to have you back. Thanks for this lovely new guitar. You guys out there in podcast land, make sure you jump on the website. You'll chuck this up on...
We'll do a review on it right now.
We'll do a review right now.
It'll be on YouTube this afternoon.
Yes. I can't wait to do a review on this thing.
Then just buy it. Buy it.
Then just buy it. No, don't buy
That's
it.
the key.
Leave it for us to keep in the store and show people.
Someone will make it. A nice home for it.
It's a nice guitar. Exciting times ahead for Cole Clark. Looking forward to the basses coming out early next year. Yeah. And the little ladies are looking good too. And you guys just keep doing your thing, Miles.
Hey, thank you, Glenn. Thanks for the support.
No worries.
Thanks, Miles.
See you later.